G'day everyone, in this video I'm down here in my home built hut in the back property of our farm, and I'm going to do some improvements on the hut, build a fireplace, patch it up. I'm getting ready because there's a big storm coming with a lot of rain. I'm also going to do some traditional Australian bushcraft, camping, and also traditional Australian cooking, including roux stew and Australian scones. Stick around guys, it'll be a good video.
I love learning about the old pioneers who headed out to the frontier to build huts, shacks and humpies in the bush. I love seeing the progression from bark huts that used the resources that were around them to more finely crafted cabins with shingle roofing, to around the time of the gold rush when galvanised iron sheets first started arriving into the frontier and made for the best material when constructing a quick livable shelter. On the farm I live on, I've tried replicating this myself, experimenting with building first a bark hut and then later a tin shack, something that might resemble what the old fellas used to live in. And now it's time to develop it further, creating something even more homely that will be comfortable in the coming storms.
Okay, g'day good folk, welcome back to another video. And I'm back down here in my little shack, my home built hut that I've made, and I want to camp out in here tonight because we've got some big storms coming in the afternoon, all throughout tonight, and then all tomorrow is going to be a real rainy day, so I'd love to test this out and see how it goes. Now I've got a few repairs, patch ups, adjustments I want to make to this shack over the course of the day. So I want to build a proper fireplace. I've got some bluestone that I'm going to use to build up the fireplace. I want to fix up the doors and the windows to stop rain and wind from coming in. The chimney, I want to put a little bit of a rainproof roof, I guess you could say, onto the chimney to stop the rain from coming in. And then I also want to create a old school style stretcher bed using hessian, which I'm going to sleep on tonight. Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. Now, I didn't walk down because I've got a bunch of gear with me, including the building gear and stuff like that. Took the Land Cruiser down. Let's just say that's my modern day horse and cart. So I think first things first, while it's still sunny, I'm going to get cracking on this on the outside and put a little bit of a rainproof bit of tin over the chimney to stop the rain from coming in. So let's get into that right now. Alright, so the idea is to have something like that, I would guess. How exactly I'm going to come up with that is yet to be seen. Whoops. Alright, so I ended up getting a bit frustrated and it was taking a bit of time, so I ended up using screws. I know they didn't use screws back in the day, but I want to get all of this work done before the rain hits, so I used some screws to make the frame. It's just a simple little roof for the chimney. Hopefully that'll keep out a fair chunk of the rain while allowing the smoke to come out. Really, this could have been a bit longer to there, but I could always change that over. Change this piece of iron over. It's the only piece I had right now. Alright, onto the fireplace. Alright, this is bluestone. We had a spare bit of bluestone lying around the property, so I figured I'll try and make use of this in my fireplace and see what I can come up with. Now the idea with this fireplace is I don't want the heat so much on the tin because it's not good for you, it's bad for your health. I'm no stonemason, but I'm pretty happy with that. And it's not actually cemented or mortared in, and already just the positioning of the stones, except for maybe that one, they've all kind of locked in, and it's quite solid. So I'm actually really happy with that. You have your little fire here, and I think that's plenty of room to be able to well, it's going to reflect the heat back onto me at night, and it should keep some of that heat off the tin. That's actually really cool. Time for a drink. I recently got rid of the plastic screw cap on this water bag and put a cork. This is a wine bottle cork, and I think that makes it much more authentic to how water bags were back in the old days. Also, I found a perfect stump for splitting wood, so I'm going to start preparing and splitting some wood. It's actually a beautiful day. I thought it was going to be raining all day. It is still saying thunderstorms in the evening and rain all night and heaps of rain tomorrow, so it's actually nice to get all this work done in the sun while it's still beautiful, because it'll be fun to test it out once the rain comes down. Now I've got wood, I've done the fireplace, I've done the chimney. I want to fix the door on this hut, the windows, and also make up a bed, a hessian bed, which is going to be interesting. So still got a little bit to do, and I'm going to cook up a bit of a roux stew tonight for dinner. All right, now for my door, my windows, I picked up some hessian from Bunnings. Now hessian is definitely something they would have had access to back in the day. Now, I just read on the news that in the next 2 days, the sale of machetes will now be banned in Victoria. Absolutely ridiculous. I won't go into the politics of knife crime and youth crime in this state, but I will say that I've quickly ordered a machete so I can get one before they're totally banned from being sold in this state. So from the inside, this can kind of just be, leave that hook there. If rain's coming in, just give it a stretch. There we go. I've got a little bit of rain protection there. I don't know if it'll do much, but same thing here. The rain comes in, and put that down. I've got these nails here, just stretch that out like that, and there we go. Beautiful. It's starting to feel very homely in here. Okay, time to make a bed. Now my wife, she actually sewed up this hessian for me so that I can fit 2 poles for either side, and it makes like a stretcher bed. If it'll take my weight, I'm yet to see, but I need 2 good poles that can go alongside there, and another one there. Oh geez, that's comfy. I think I've done it. I think I've made me bed. Won't be much moving around in the night, that's for sure. Alright, I've got my bedroll here. And if I roll my bedroll out, I've got 2 woolen blankets. So, 1 woolen blanket is insulation for the bottom. The other woolen blankets for the top. And there we have it. My pioneer hut with a cool fireplace. Bloody beautiful this is. And then in here I've got some charred fire fungi, which I charred up at another point. So I'm going to try and get a spark on that. There we go. See how that's caught? That's what we want. Let's chuck this in here, right in the middle. See if we can get this. There we go. Just stepping outside to have a look. Even with that roof on, the chimney's working really well, and it's drawing all that smoke straight up the chimney and out it. I think that's a bloody great fireplace. I'm quite happy with that. Well, I'm just waiting for that fire to burn down so I can cook on some hot coals. I thought I'd just give a shout out to a couple of viewers of the channel who actually have sent me out some stuff recently. I think that's, I really appreciate when people do that, and I'm always blown away that that viewers of this channel want to send me out, you know, little bits of treasure. So Douglas, who partnered up with Lee from Peak Oil and sent me out these hemp cotton undergarments, which I'll be wearing tonight because it is winter and it will get quite cold. So legend, thank you Douglas. Mark, a fellow named Mark, sent out a bunch of really cool books, Australiana kind of history books. I brought one down with me. This is The Bloodiest Bushrangers, and it was just a bunch of awesome books that he sent out. And then lastly, I'd like to give a shout out to Daryl. Now Daryl sent me this old book that's been in his family for a long time, and it's The Skills of the Australian Bushman, and there is some real gold in this. I mean, this is old school kind of camping stuff in here. Look at that. I'd love to make a fence bed like that one time. So thank you very much Daryl. These are all great books, and all this stuff just helps me and spurs me on to keep making videos. So for dinner tonight, I'm going to be cooking up, this is a vintage copper pan, and it's like a saucepan really, so I'm going to cook up a roux stew in that. So we've got kangaroo meat, I've got some onion, tomato, and also a potato. Now I've been told off before for cutting in my tin, because obviously that blunts the knife. So I'm going to cut on this bit of wood here. Chuck some of that at the back there, and I'll cook on these coals. Alright. With my water bag, I'm just going to start adding some water to the soup. And I'm also going to add a little bit of flour. And the point of the flour is just to thicken up the stew. There we go. Looks like those storm clouds are starting to come in. Put the windows down. See how our stew is doing. Nice. That's good. Pretty nice. I came here in the summer and came down here at night time to have a fire, and it was just full of spiders and huntsmen and stuff like that, and mosquitoes and all that. But now that we're in winter, this is the beauty of winter, is like all the creepy crawlies just go away. They're not around, so it's just, this is beautiful. I'm loving it. And the fire is cranking. I feel like I could easily live in a little shack like this back in the day, but before I was hearing samba honking as well. So the samba are out in the bushland just down from here. And actually last few nights I've got some video footage of it. When I've been coming home at night, I drive through the front paddock and I've seen herd of fallow deer, I've seen a samba as well, and so they're around. And so I really would love to make a video one time here in this hut shooting my first samba, because it's the perfect place to do it. I just got to get my firearm license and get into it. But for now, I'm just going to enjoy my night here and see how it holds up in the rain and the wind. Yeah. Well, we had crazy winds in the night, but the place held up good. Not a heap of rain, quite a lot of wind, big windstorm, but not as much rain as I thought. But it is coming down, and it is a wet, drizzly, rainy day, and it is very, very warm and cozy and dry in my little hut, so I'd say it's a success. This bed held my weight really well last night. I was actually quite comfortable. Now that the hessian's kind of stretched a bit, I really enjoyed my sleep in this. While I'm here enjoying my pipe and a coffee, I am going to have a cook up. I'm just waiting for those coals to burn down a bit because I want to create a bit of an oven for my cook up. But I thought I'd just have a little chat about some of my favourite channels doing similar things, in case there's anyone out there who wants some recommendations, because I do get this a lot from people in the comment section saying, oh, who else is doing what you're doing? I haven't been able to find any kind of full-time YouTube channel that's doing historical Australian camping like this, but there is a lot of people in this kind of genre around the world who are doing this kind of stuff, whether it's Viking or the old out on the western frontier in the US and things like that. But I just thought I'd share two of my favorite channels who are a big inspiration to me. They're much bigger channels than I am, but I love what they do. The first one is Waypoint Survival. He's a US bloke, and he's doing more kind of early 1900s hobo style camping in America. Now the hobos were similar to our swagmen, similar kind of culture, and he does survival, historical survival stuff as well. And he'll go out in the snow and, you know, build shelters and stuff like that using materials available in late 1800s, early 1900s. So I'd highly recommend Waypoint Survival. Then I think his name is Fandabi Dozy. I can't quite pronounce his name, but he is amazing. He does Scottish Highland wilderness, historical wilderness adventures. So he loves his kind of 16th and 17th century era Scotland and the Scottish Highlanders who were out there in their historical gear. And he does some amazing survival style camps and journeys and adventures over in Scotland. So I'd highly recommend him as well. And they're just two of my favorite channels doing historical wilderness survival adventure camp type stuff. Alrighty then. Let's see if I can do this. I've got a mixing table. And I'm going to make some scones, damper scones. So this is basically the same as damper. The only difference is it's got butter in it, and it's self-raising flour instead of plain flour. So traditional Australian damper is just flour, salt and water, which is what the old fellas used to eat. And this is more of a luxury, which is self-raising flour, butter and a pinch of salt. Okay, geez, that made a mess, but that's the idea. And I've got four little scones there. So now it's time to make a little bit of a campfire oven. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to use this billy, if you can see. So the idea, I've got them on that little tray. I'm going to rest them there, and then I put this on. And that's my little oven. Let's chuck that in the fire. That's the idea. Alright, there we go. I'm cozy in my hut here. Scones are in my little bush oven, campfire oven, and I'll give that about 20 to 30 minutes, and then see how we go. Little roof on the chimney has done really well pretty much no rain is getting in, and yet it's drawing all the smoke out of it really well, so I'm quite happy with that. Well, in typical fashion, I've gone and done it, and I've burnt me scones, but the bottoms are burnt, but I might be able to still might be able to save them. That's typical of me, isn't it? Just get rid of the burnt bits. Look at that. See, if you just get rid of the burnt bits, that's alright. For my secret ingredient, bit of jam. Obviously scones and jam came from the British or the English influence, but it was definitely something that was well enjoyed as a treat, you know, like a Sunday treat on homesteads throughout this country, and I'm going to enjoy it here today. Get a close-up of that. Yeah, that's good. Now, I won't eat all these. I'm going to bring some up for my wife. I want her to taste this. Well everyone, I hope you've enjoyed this video. Rain is kind of eased off now. I might walk back up to the house, but you know, I'm fascinated with the history of this country, and I really think it's worthwhile looking back at where we came from and just admiring and respecting you know, the men and the women who built this country, and how they lived and how they roughed it. And yeah, I just really love dwelling deep into the history and looking at these old folks who roamed the bush and lived down in little humpies and huts like this. And last night when I was laying in my bed looking at the campfire, looking around, I almost feel like I'm transporting back in time, you know, for a moment there, and I almost feel like I am, you know, in the 1800s out in the bush, in the remote, you know, frontier of Australia. And yeah, it's actually a really special feeling, and I enjoy doing this so much, and just giving homage and respect and honor to those who went before us. So I hope you've enjoyed this video. If you have, please like it, please leave a comment and subscribe if you haven't. I've got plenty of good videos, historical and heritage camping, coming up for the rest of the year. Thanks everyone, have a good one.